ESPN is reporting the Knicks and Phil Jackson inching closer to an agreement to make Phil Jackson the president of the Knicks. And Sal, I'm going to keep saying it. I think this is awful for Phil. I think it's awful for the Knicks. Phil's never picked players. He didn't pick the players in Chicago. He didn't pick the players in Los Angeles. He lives in Montana and L.A., splits his time there. So you're going to move to New York? I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it's a money grab. I think this is bad for everybody involved.
You know, the one thing you want, and I understand it's going to bring some sense of credibility because it's Phil Jackson and all he has accomplished as a head coach, former Knick great on the championship team in '73. Here's the thing, though, Sean. The Knicks need players. I'm not so sure Phil Jackson's going to be the right guy. And I'd rather have somebody who's hungry, who's dying for this type job. Not somebody who's on the way out. I want somebody who's competent that's on the way up. And the problem, honestly, hasn't been the guys who are running the show. It's been James Dolan not allowing the guys who are running the show to run the show.
Well, it's very funny you say that. I had a chance today on my Sirius XM radio show to talk to Larry Brown, who obviously has experience in this situation. And Larry Brown had this to say when you take a look at it. And I asked him what would his advice be for Phil Jackson. And he said if he was Phil Jackson, and you see the quote right here, he would absolutely take the job, and he would keep Mike Woodson as the head coach. He also said that it was his fault why it didn't work with the Knicks. And he said Jim Dolan wants to win, and he believes that you could, I think Larry's nuts, but he believes you could actually have full autonomy working for Jim Dolan.
That's an interesting comment. First of all, I think Larry Brown's just taking the high road. The one thing I do believe that he said is James Dolan does want to win. I know he's trying. He just doesn't know how. He's got to stay out of the way. One thing that's annoying from a Knicks fan's perspective, they had Pat Riley all those years, the 90s Knicks. We grew up loving Riley, and he would get beat by Phil Jackson all the time. Jackson was the great head coach of the Bulls. Now that Riley is having success as an executive, the Knicks have the losing executive in Phil Jackson. I know it's a little early to say that, but clearly Riley's at the top of his game. Right. Jackson is not. The Knicks can't get it right.